Buongiorno!
Buongiorno! Today we're gonna make the dough for the pizza or for the focaccia. This is for everybody who wants to make some good baking at home. So the first thing to do if you're married is to unmarry. And there are good reasons to unmarry. One of which is that you want your ring to be still nice after the baking, and also because it makes you feel good sometimes to be a bit unmarried for a while, you know. So we start from the dough. Here in America we have to take well, generally there's no difference between America and Europe, but in America it's harder to get dough that is strong. That means it has a lot of content of protein, and generally here we find quite weak dough. This has 3 grams of protein in 30 grams, so that means 9 grams per 90, 10 grams per 100. It's kind of weak. So we mix it together with a dough that has 4 grams of protein per 30 grams, which is like 25% more, and it's actually a lot more. So would be sort of 13 grams per 100 grams.
But the more the better, right?
Yeah, that is the maximum you want to do. The reason why is that you want more proteins, that it creates a better gluten structure, and then it's easier than to manipulate. It doesn't fall apart when you stretch it, and it's not too weak. So that's why it's called strong dough. Second thing that you need is a bowl. This one is particularly good because food tends to be pretty tasty in it. It smells like popcorn. Then you need yeast. You get the beer yeast. We don't get it here, but this is dry, it gets activated in water. One thing that you have to remember is that yeast does not have to be put together with salt or in close contact with salt, because salt will decrease the resting power, the yeast power. You need some salt, and you need some sugar that activates, and some olive oil. So we start from the water, and we do focaccia today. So I don't want to have focaccia for 5 days, so I'm gonna make a focaccia of this size. What is it? Of this size, and so I use almost a cup of water. This much, can you see it? Okay. So in this much water, I am going to solve or dilute not much yeast, because I like that it rests in a long time, so you can see how much. Can you see? It's very little.
Like half a spoon or less?
Oh, way less than half a spoon. And even if I use, this is more intense than beer yeast, the one that comes in a cube.
We call it fresh yeast.
Fresh yeast. This, so the fresh, even in the fresh yeast that is weaker than this, I generally tend to use very little yeast, and to prefer to have longer resting time. And I would advise that, because kind of yeast grows exponentially, so you just need to give it enough time.
Does it grow like coronavirus?
Almost like coronavirus, geometrically, yes. So with this, you dilute it in water. The fresh yeast, you put it in the cup where you put some flour. So now here I'm gonna make 50-50, and since the flour is lighter than, and I don't have a scale, and it's lighter than water, we need, let's say, twice as much volume, or a bit more than twice as much volume of flour than we add for water.
So if there was a 1 cup of water,
So one full cup of water would equate to 2.5 cups of flour. So I can put it directly over here, and then I put also, I can fill up the second one, maybe a bit less because I want it more hydrated. And here I also put 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I will pour this later because I don't want the salt to go in straight contact from the beginning, from the get-go, with yeast. 1.5, very unprecise measures. I mix it just because I like it to, it's irrelevant. So now you mix with the machine, the automatic machine that the bzzz, I have to connect it to the power. Bzzz. Okay, I start pouring also the second cup. And then of course I will add probably some more yeast as flour, not yeast, as I mix in order kind of to detach it from my hands. It's an old technology machine. But I have to show you how this has to look like when it's ready. Another thing that you can add right now is some olive oil. And this is important both for the pizza and the focaccia, because then it will taste really good. And it also caramelizes a bit, it helps the caramelization of the dough when it's cooked. See, at the moment it's too watery and I need to add more flour, but not much. And I also want to add half a spoon of sugar. This will activate the yeast and will not make it taste sweet, so don't worry about it. Interesting texture. I will add from this one because I don't like this flour, so I want to finish it.
Is it from Amazon?
This flour is from the brand that is the basic brand of all foods, and it also sells in Amazon fresh. Those perks of America. A flour, I don't know, 1 kilo flour would cost 40 euro cents in Europe. And here in America, since flour is just for the funky people who cook at home, is absolutely unnecessary food. So it costs way more than gold over here.
So basically the value of your ring is just in that box.
Yes. Yes, next time, if we have to renew the vow, please give me 2 kilos of flour as a gift, and I bring you tomato sauce.
Still too gluish?
Yes, still too gluish, but it's getting better. Can you see how gluish that is? I'm for the reuse of everything, because otherwise I have to wash it away. Makes no sense. This is kind of weak at the moment. This is an indication of the fact that I used there's relatively too much water, and second is that the flour is not strong. So with this flour instead, it would get a bit less weak.
Define weak.
Weak means this, you see, with the gluten is not sticky, kind of goes down almost like a liquid, a dense liquid. Dense is not the right word. What's the right word for this texture? Almost like oily. I forgotten the name of the word. But is it clear what wiki is?
Yes.
Okay. So soon, more flour. You'll see what I want as a result. Then when I generate that result, I can show you what I do, but I can anticipate. I will ask Maria, my wife, the recorder, the camera girl, to cover it.
Producer, I'm a producer.
Producer, to cover it with a foil of plastics, because this is what she loves doing.
But only in America.
Yes. And you can actually see a funky packaging of the plastic foil that makes it easy also for those who hate cutting plastic foil. See, it needs some work.
I think the video is gonna be way more heavy than
pizza. You could have done a diretta, I don't know how to call it, on Instagram.
Yeah. Live streaming.
Live streaming, yes.
Yeah, and actually it's a prime time in Europe now for that.
Yes.
Next
I could have said ciao to all my family members, who I suppose are all of them on Instagram. And of course, as we would have Asha as a first watcher, right?
Well, there is a strong competition.
Really?
Could be also Kasia Zielińska.
Kasia, and who else? Padawan, who used to like everything from the get-go. Is it still like that? A bit
not so
less.
much,
Now he
bit
has too
less.
many people to follow.
Yes, probably.
Or maybe he has found a girlfriend who says, "Why do you put so many likes to Maria?"
Oh my god, you're too stupid. Now this video is gonna be awkward.
So what does that need for you?
More flour.
A bit more flour, yes. I need to wash my hands with flour now. As they say in Napoli, lavarsi le mani con la farina. I cannot wash my hands with water, otherwise it will stick everywhere. But I can do it with flour. You see, as a strong preference to finish the weak flour with few proteins. So you can tell me a story, tell me a joke.
No, you continue the story of focaccia. What's gonna happen next?
Okay, so the focaccia, you can look here. We put an image of the focaccia.
I don't know how to do that.
How it will look like. We put up.
I know that we are in LA, but I'm not yet fluent in, like, cinema industry.
Cinematics.
Yes.
You can also put the subtitles, right?
Yes, or a link. That's gonna be easy.
So
But tell what focaccia is.
the focaccia is almost like a bread. That is, it's something between bread and pizza. It's generally a flat bread, rectangular generally, and it's.
And now everybody can notice that if Italiano is speaking, they need two hands of gesture because you stopped working on the dough to tell what focaccia is.
And it's not like pizza that gets topped by many ingredients, tomato. The focaccia tends to be really bready. So it's like a salty bread that has, I don't know, maybe one ingredient on top or maybe none. So like focaccia genovese is just with olive oil and salt. And it's delicious, doesn't need much. And well, for instance, in Puglia, in the south of Italy, where we enjoy going on holidays, they make focaccia with tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and then maybe some onions
Or olives.
or olives, and so it's like keeping it simple, but not with tomato sauce.
I think we're almost there, right?
We're almost there. We're almost there. Yes, bravissima. Yeah, you have to speak Italian because otherwise this dough doesn't come so well, because it recognizes that.
Ok,
it needs
parliamo
some
italiano.
passion. So adesso metto l'ultimo po' di farina perché ne mancava ancora. Continuo a lavorare la mia pasta. Questa si chiama pasta, the dough is pasta in Italian. E we say pasta per la pizza dough. Pasta for the pizza. And, o pasta per la focaccia. E poi la copriamo con un foglio di plastica.
Foglio americano.
Un foglio di plastica americana. Oh yes! Un pochino più d'olio. This exactly is a focaccia genovese. So we'll leave it here to rest on a slightly oily surface.
So you wouldn't do that for the pizza?
I wouldn't do it for the
this
pizza.
Last bit
No.
of oil. Okay.
No. And another thing that we want to add maybe is just, some little salt in the last. Well, it's unnecessary. It's just, because I convinced myself that I put too little earlier. So now that we have this kind of nice little dough that sticks to it and doesn't stick anymore to my hands, I clean myself and take these little scraps, put some extra oil, and now you see it's very hydrated, it's very wet, and this is the way it should be. And now I let it rest. I do it because you want to record and want to get your phone so wet, so greasy. This is also against coronavirus. Always wash your hands. Remember. Look, this is ingenious. So I wrap this bowl in plastics, and then I just rotate a bit this packaging, and thanks to this little things they can toggle, and that doesn't work. Below I'm gonna cut the plastics.
Wow.
It's ingenious, right?
Okay.
And then
how long
I
should it
put
rest?
it in the oven with the light on, just the light, so it gets a bit warmer for let's say 5 hours. So see you in 5 hours. Ciao.